Well, hello, DCO Nation. Welcome to Deadcom Outdoors Radio. This is the show where the tide set the tone and the bite tells the story. We're diving into everything saltwater inshore kayak fishing, from lures and locations to weather, water, and winning tactics. If it helps you hook up on more fish, we're talking about it right here. So grab your paddle, check your drag, and here we go. Well, welcome DCO Nation to Deadcom Outdoors right here on the Outdoor Radio Network. My name is Chris, and before we jump into the show and get to our two guests, I'd like to invite you guys to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube for the long form videos so that you guys never miss a show, you never miss a fishing update. Just search Deadcom Outdoors and we can get connected. So, guys, we're going to keep the intro very short because I'm going to get to our two guests. Paul and Jeff with the YouTube channel Aggressively Average Anglers. Guys, really appreciate you joining me this morning. How are y'all doing?
We're doing great, man. Thanks for having us on. Always excited to talk fishing and talk kayaks.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, how are you this morning? Paul, how are you doing this morning? Sorry about that.
No, I'm doing great. We've got Jeff and I both have kids in the house, so my day starts early. My kids are up at 5:45, so that's where we're at.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't have kids right now. We are empty nesters, and my day started early. I think I was up at 5:30. So kids or not, I don't think it changes as you get older. So there's a little something to look forward to. But guys, I wanted to get these two on because they are, in my opinion, they are the experts in kayaks. They have been in a ton of boats. A matter of fact, one of the videos I think I watched from you guys a couple of weeks ago, Jeff, I think you said that you have been in something like 40 kayaks. So, you guys have seen them, you've reviewed them. I love your take on this. So we're going to do basically a real timely topic. This is the time of the year, January, where everybody is looking at maybe getting their first kayak or upgrading their kayak. Like for me, my story is I'm ready to now upgrade. So guys, let's go ahead and let's jump into it. Let's talk budget kayaks all the way up into the top tier, top level kayak. So whoever wants to kick it off, go ahead and do it.
It depends on where you want to start.
Let's start with the budget or value kayaks, and we'll just work our way through.
Love it. So and what you're referencing to is we put out kind of a series on kayaks that we're working on right now. So the first one was, hey, these are really the only kayaks that we would recommend if you were looking strictly for like a budget, a value, or a tournament build kayak. So if you want to be the guy out there on the water with all the bells and whistles and like a $20,000 kayak, that's like that tournament build. Value for us is the platform. The kayak is usually somewhere between $1,500, $1,500, like $3K. And then you're going to build a couple of things on top of that. But the point of value is you want to stretch that dollar and you want that kayak to last you 5 to 10 years. You want it to be scalable so you can add a motor to it in the future if you wanted to. You could do it day one if you wanted to. It kind of depends on how much cash you have sitting around and what you're willing to spend on that. And then budget for us is not just cheap, because there are certainly cheap kayaks out there. You can get a kayak for $100, $200 at a Walmart, get a Sun Dolphin 8-footer, get out there. It's not going to be right for a lot of conditions. It's going to have an extremely low weight capacity. It's not fun to rig because you basically just have to drill holes wherever you want stuff in it, and you're causing more integrity issues. But there are budget kayaks. Typically, you're going to find them like $650 to $1,000. That like $999 cap is kind of what we look for. So like the Bonafide RS 117, for example, is a good one for that at $999. And then you got down at like $650. A lot of people recommend the Lifetime Yukon as another great example. So somewhere in that range is where you're going to have like what we would consider budget. And we really don't consider cheap kayaks at all. Like I want a kayak where you're going to be safe, you're going to be able to have fun in it, not just float, and like that's all you do. There's lots of ways you can float that are safer than super cheap kayaks depending on what conditions you're going out in. So there's like the categories. And then Paul, do you want to like maybe let's hit some of our favorite picks from the budget and value category?
Yeah, I think the one thing I would add too is, and it's really important to understand what we mean, because like everybody's budget is different and everyone's looking to accomplish different things. Like I think when you get with like a lot of insiders who have been in kayak fishing for a long time, budget for them means like $2,500. That's what they're thinking budget. But like budget for the average angler is 1,500, like all in. And so we got to think about things like taxes. You got to think about things like PFD and paddle, because that's like $300
required.
Depending on what you get, $200. Even the cheapest of the cheap is like 100. So just take those things into consideration. And then when we're talking about this stuff, the used market is out there. It's hard to make recommendations based off of it because you never know what's going to be available, what's going to be quality, and people overcharge like crazy for their kayaks. They think that if it still floats, it's still worth 90% of retail, and you don't always get a huge break. So just but be real. Like if you want to save a few bucks and you're a good, you like to bargain shop, the used market can be really, really good if you're into all that and you're willing to drive and all that kind of stuff. So all that being said, when we think about budget, Jeff and I would, I think, probably agree. Steve at Water Dog Outfitters in West Michigan put us on this, and he was like, you guys are sleeping on the RS 117, and that 117 from Bonafide is crazy. For $1,000, you are getting basically all the trickle down technology from all their other kayaks into a very budget friendly build. And there's only one or two very small things that you don't get that are on a premium kayak, like the premium front hatch. But other than like a premium front hatch, you're getting everything that you could want in an awesome kayak. You get stability, you get actually paddle ability, you get a great seat, especially for the money. And the seats, while you could just add a cushion if you want them to be more comfortable, you can't change the height on a lot of these seats. And this one has the height that meets the need for, a sit on top, high end experience. And then you're getting all the fit and finish of a really quality kayak. Like it's the same plastic they use in the rest of their models, same handles, and just like same decking, all that kind of stuff's the same. So at $1,000, and it is one of the kayaks that goes on sale at retailers because I think it's slept on. So when they have that Memorial Day sale, which is when I recommend people do most of their shopping for kayak, like that May timeframe, peak. And I know for the South kind of sucks, you must have season, all that, but that's like the best time nationwide to go buy a kayak because everyone's got sales going for Memorial Day. So when those sales hit, those big ones, you're probably going to get that kayak for $700 to $800, and that is just crazy. So I think that's probably where it starts. And it's really hard to beat because you're getting big boy kayak tech for the lowest price you're going to find per dollar. So I think that's probably the highest value pick. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good one. A lot of people also bring up like the Crescent CK1 as another option. Again, putting you around that $1,000. Anytime you can get around there with a rotomolded kayak, and like that's important that it's like a one-piece rotomold for us. It's like number one thing we look for. That discounts a lot of other brands, but it's not that we think they're bad. It's just that we know rotomolded one piece is better. So we're always leaning on that. And then you branch into, okay, what if I want to be able to move beyond paddling? And I'm sure a lot of, inshore guys, offshore guys, like it opens up a lot of opportunity if you can pedal or add a motor in terms of like where you can go, how far you can go, how long you can fish. So if you're going distances, you got to have some other, modus operandi, if you will, to get from point A to point B. So you have the paddle, it's nice, but also if you're fishing, paddling and casting is kind of a pain in the butt. It's totally doable, but it's obviously not ideal. If you're pedaling, now I'm hands-free, so now I can cast and just move a little bit faster from spot to spot. If you got a motor, even better, you're moving even faster from spot to spot. So when we jump into like pedal options, you're talking to saltwater guys. We're not saltwater guys. We're freshwater guys. So we're from Michigan. We've got the Great Lakes, which are like the biggest fresh waters without salt in them.
That's like open ocean too, man. It's
anybody who comes to Great Lakes first time, they're always like, this is actually an ocean. This is not a lake. I hear you. So like we go out on there. It's like similar feel, to being out on the ocean, but it's obviously not salty, not the same, not as big as the ocean. But that said, one thing we didn't mention in our like budget value builds, somebody called out in the comments for us, and that would be like the Old Town Malibu pedal, which is the new salty PDL. So, the updated version of that. nice open deck space, open cargo up front, pedal drive, one of the best in the biz from Old Town. It floats if it were to fall out. That's always nice. Plenty of space in the back, and you've got that offset power pole mount in the back too if you want to go like shallow inshore, chasing reds or something. So that can open up a lot of spots for people, and I think that's a good one. But we also called out like the Vibe Makana, which we did use on the open ocean about 5 miles out when we were in British Columbia. So that's another good one, kind of around that $18.99 with a pedal, 14 something without. So you can add a motor or do a pedal if you want to. So that's a good one. You got the Vibe Shearwater, puts you a little over 2K, another good one though. So there's a lot of options there. And then there's brands that we haven't tried. So like something that Paul and I like to call out all the time is while we've tried 40 plus kayaks and inflatables on our channel, there's like hundreds of kayaks and inflatables that exist. And we haven't tested them all. Our goal is to test them all. That's kind of like our big 3 to 5 year goal is like, wouldn't it be cool if we could test all of these? And we made a video we recorded yesterday. We were filming where we were talking about all the kayaks we want to test this year. And I think that was like 20, Paul, wasn't it? It's like 20 or 25 on that list.
Full model. So I think Jeff's going to reference like the Hoodoo Impulse as a kayak that I really want to be able to recommend to people. It seems like one that I can recommend for the dollar, even though, it's made in China. But they're onshoring a lot of that production. They're actually going to do that in another retailer's, major kayak manufacturer's location. And it's solid. But you're going to give up on drive quality and all that. So anyways, we definitely want to try everything. And the Hoodoo Impulse is one I really like that was high on our list.
So that's the platform that I run. I've got the Impulse 120 and I've got the pedal drive. When they still have the pedal drive with it, they discontinued the pedal and they just went to the fin drive. Well, I didn't want the fin drive because I wanted the instant reverse, being in current and tidal flow and stuff like that. So, but super stable. I've had it for about a year and a half. I think it's a great platform. I'm not sold on how they strap down or bolt down the pedal drive with these 2 set screws in the front. I can't tell you how many times I have dropped those in the water and they're gone. So I keep like a bag. That's exactly the look when I drop them in. Exactly, Jeff. So I keep a bag full of those in my front pack because I have to. But guys, we're at the end of the first segment. Don't go anywhere. We're discussing the best kayaks you need to buy in 2026. You are listening to Deadcom Outdoors right here on the Outdoor Radio Network. Well, welcome back, DCO Nation, to Deadcom Outdoors. We are talking with Jeff and Paul from Aggressively Average Anglers, and we are breaking down pretty much I don't want to say the best, but we're running through the best value budget kayaks for 2026. And now what I'd like to jump into is kind of that next level. We covered a handful of good, value, something for you can still build out, but let's go into that top tier. Let's jump right into those.
This is home base, man. This is where I like to live. I totally get the budget value crowd. And I think that everybody needs to go on their own journey through kayak ownership. And Paul and I agree on this all the time. It's like, look, you don't need to start with a bona fide XTR with all the bells and whistles. You probably won't be happy if you do, especially if you're new to kayak fishing. You kind of need to go through the budget and the value builds, or maybe start at least at the value level. Like a Native Slayer is your first pedal kayak or something like that. It's a great place to start, get used to kayak fishing, get comfortable with it, maybe flip your kayak once or twice, learn to get back into it, all of that. And like learn the layout, learn where you like things to go. Because I feel like if I hand you a blank canvas and you've never painted before, you're just going to throw a bunch of paint on that canvas and it's going to look like trash. And that's what you see with a lot of
figures.
It's going to be stick figures on climbing a mountain or something. Like it's going to be bad. So if I give you a bona fide XTR and you're like, what do I do with this? And you try to add all those bells and whistles, you're not going to be happy. So you kind of have to go on that journey, that evolution with your kayak ownership. And then once you get comfortable with the sport and you like kind of know where you want those things to be, now your tournament build is going to be awesome. Plus you get to know some folks in the space. There's a lot of awesome humans in the kayaking world, a lot of local kayak communities, local trails you can do tournaments with, get to know folks, look at their builds. pick their brain, watch videos on YouTube, you know, like learn all you can, and then go do that tournament build. But this is really like where we get excited, because I love a blank canvas kayak that I can build anything I want on top of. So I'm looking for like really good stability on that. I'm looking for something that has a high weight capacity. It's got to have high quality, thicker plastic so it can hold up to my abuse, because Paul and I are not very nice to kayaks. We have often had them either fall out of the truck bed while driving down the road, or B, kind of dragged it or dropped it off the truck when we go to launch. So like it needs,
let me see, have I ever done that before?
like it needs that level of durability to hold up to that. Like it has to have that. So a couple great options off the top, and then Paul like throw some into the mix with this too. But we always are going to end up recommending like the Bonafide XTR, the New Canoe Unlimited is a huge one, the Native Titan X. Again, all if you're looking for like good stability, these are all like our top 3 kind of picks. What else would we add to that, Paul?
Yeah, I would definitely add the Bonafide PWR, and then for my river fishermen, I'm gonna add in the Crescent Shoaly. I think that, or the RVR, whichever version of a river kayak that you like. Those are just such really good versatile boats that you can motorize, but still paddle like elite level paddling. So I think I would add those into the mix. And I think there's some models like, we don't want to forget about FluxJet. Like that still almost falls in like the high end of value, where you get a jet motor, it's all built in, it's all configured. You don't have to really do anything or add anything to it. It's actually like good to go. You just make
a battery,
electronics on, and a battery. So you know, there are I think what Jeff's alluding to is like you develop taste, and you're like, what do I really like? When you get into a fully loaded, fully modded kayak, there's so much going on. You may hate it. And I do. A lot of times I get in those kayaks like, this actually sucks. I don't enjoy it. I like my kayaks like, add 3 things, I'm good. And I actually don't bring much. I like lighter, faster. So like the P127 or even the SS127 from Bonafide, those are really, really good kayaks. Yeah, you throw a motor on there, even just one, and you're good. A New Canoe Unlimited, if you just put a trolling motor on it, it's a ridiculous and a rudder. It's a stupid good kayak. You can get more fishing done than a lot of people can with 10 times more stuff. So you know, those are like Jeff said, those are kind of our favorites that we go to again and again, because they really apply to a lot of different kinds of fishing. They allow you to build them out how you want. And while they're expensive, some of them are very expensive, there are more expensive ones. These are mid-range to high range, like top third of the high end of price range. But like with a New Canoe, you can get away with just adding a trolling motor, and you can have one of the best hulls in the business.
Yeah, and for under 5K, you got spot lock and massive stability. And that 5K would include your PFD, your paddle, your kayak, the bow mount trolling motor, like a Minn Kota Tarova, and then a kayak crate, and you're good. Your PFD, obviously, you got to make sure you got that too. But like if you have all those things, then you're solid, like out the gate. And it really just comes down to, we always ask people, like, I need some qualifiers. If I'm going to help you build a kayak, I need your budget. I need to know where you're fishing, and I need to know your loadout. So are you a person who brings a ton of gear like I would, or you want less gear, minimalistic like Paul would? And depending on how you fish is going to be the kayak that we would recommend to you.
I also ask people, like, how fit are you? Because standing up and sitting down in a low seat kayak sucks. Loading out a 300-pound kayak, I'm here to tell you, like Jeff and I do it all the time with no wheels and stuff, or no trailer or whatever. It's not great. It's not great, and it's a lot more work. So there's and you know, we're doing like a fitness challenge, Fit to Fish, the month of February, with a really awesome community of people, and it's all about, like, you want to stay on the water all day. Get flexible, like let's just get moving around, get your strength up, and you can fish. You can handle more kayak for sure. You can fish way better. You can be more comfortable fishing. And those are the things that we need to know. If you don't know those things, it's impossible to make a good recommendation.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, the New Canoe, have you guys gotten your hands on the Unlimited Max?
Not yet. That is on the wish list for kayaks we're going to try in 2026. So we've got like the New Canoe UMax, the Native Hammer also dropped.
I was going to bring up the Hammer next. Yeah, so you guys haven't seen that one either yet. Okay.
We've seen it, but we haven't seen it.
We haven't touched it. So Paul mentioned earlier our buddy Steve over at Water Dog Outfitters in Whitehall, Michigan. That's where we go to test kayaks. Not all kayak dealers have the ability to offer test runs. But this is one of them. He's right out there on White Lake, White River, and then Lake Michigan is right there too. But they drop you in on the White Lake, White River side. and you can just go pedal around, get a good feel for those kayaks before you decide which one is right for you. So that's something that we always look for. If we're going to a dealer, like I need the chance to like get on the water, not just look. You can look at a kayak and you can guess how it's going to perform, but you're wrong. And then once you're on the water, that's when you actually know if this is right for you, if you have a good feel for that. We're looking for like stability profile on that. How comfortable is it? If you're pedaling, you know, pedals they all feel different. If you go from a fin drive to a prop drive, depending on how low the seat is or how high the seat is, that's going to change the comfort level of pedaling with it. And if you just look at a pedal kayak and you're like, well, it's a pedal kayak, it'll be fine. And then you get out there and then you realize your hips hurt when you're pedaling.
Yep.
You're going to go return that, or you're going to just eat a couple $1,000s? That's not fun. So yeah, you really got to test it out. But we will have the native hammer in hand, I think late March, we're going to get on that. And then the UMax we'll get at some point this year. That'll be another goal for us. We did just test the Flux Jet on a river, which was a lot of fun. That was pretty eye-opening because it was one we were questioning. And I think a lot of people are, because it's a brand new brand that came out of nowhere and won the whole show at ICAST. And you're like, okay, is this too good to be true? Because they didn't have a test platform at ICAST. Like almost every other brand did. So that people are like, rightfully so, a little skeptical about
Is it
that.
real?
Yeah, is it even real? And we were wondering the same. So we flew to Sacramento, got on the thing, and yes, it's real. And yes, it does everything they're saying it does. And it's awesome.
And I gotta tell you, guys did a fantastic video on that because I'm totally interested in that. To the performance and the turning radius on it. And you guys were going through some very shallow couple inches of water and just floating right across it because there's no motor that hangs down at all. It's built into the back of the kayak, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool, like I would say invention, because it's the first electric kayak, at least that's on the market. There were some funny comments on that video. They were like, I invented that in '93. And I was like, cool, man. Like,
where is it?
Where is it, bud? Like, what are you talking about? But it is really cool. You can absolutely like motor through those really shallow sections. So we were steering with the motor while running it through water that I would have never gotten through on half of the kayaks I use. So yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. So Paul, I got a question for you. There is a question that I get in my comments all the time. People will jump into my DM and say, can you explain weight capacity? I'm a bigger guy. It says, 500-pound weight capacity. Could you go through and kind of break that down?
Crucial.
It is a big deal. So when kayak companies list weight capacity, if they only list weight capacity, what they're quoting is how much weight can they put in there before water is getting inside the kayak and not flowing back out. So if
like
you
through
take
the scupper holes
or through wherever it's coming in. So if you have, so the way they test this is they will take like dumbbells. Usually they'll put the kayak next to in the water, next somewhere where there's a platform they can stand on, and they'll just start putting 10 pounds at a time, 100 pounds at a time, whatever, until they get to the point where water's sitting inside the kayak. Now, if they list weight capacity and usable weight capacity would be, this is just how much before you start sinking or you're taking on water. Usable weight capacity is it's operating the way it was intended to, and there is a delta there. So if the total weight capacity for, we'll say like the new Canoe Unlimited would be like 650 pounds. That's the just weight capacity. The operating weight capacity is more like 575, maybe just shy of 600. And that is insane, by the way. It's got a very high weight capacity and it functions because it's flat bottom very well. But when you get above that, we'll call it 575, whatever they quote as the usable capacity, it starts to get sluggish. Your equipment won't function the way it's supposed to. It'll get very tippy. You'll start, that primary stability starts going away and you're very unhappy. You're going to be uncomfortable. So those are two numbers where if they don't list usable capacity, you got to figure it out for yourself. But it's going to be less than the total weight capacity. But that total weight capacity, if you go anywhere beyond that or you start sniffing up to it, it's not going to function the way that you want.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. So guys, I appreciate it. We're coming down towards the end of this. I really appreciate you guys jumping on here this morning. But let everybody know where they can follow you and watch all your content, because you do everything from fishing gear to kayak accessories. You show build outs. I mean, guy, it's the all-in-one. It's the Swiss Army knife of, kayak YouTube channels. I love it. I've been following you guys for years. So let everybody know how they can follow you and watch you.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. And I think you like hit the nail on the head. Our goal with our channel, and now channels, we just started a new one, is kind of be like that informative neighbor that you feel comfortable going next door to when you have a question about something. Like we want to be that person.
Like I am in my neighborhood.
Exactly. Everybody's like, all right, like, well, today, like my oven is not operating. So like I would go to a neighbor like Paul and say, hey man, you ever had this happen with your oven? What do you do? We want to be that person for folks, or those people for folks. And yeah, for us, if you want to follow us, it's at Aggressively Average Anglers, or you can look at the little name. If you're watching this thing, it's Triple Anglers, AA Anglers. And that's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. We're on TikTok. And then YouTube is our main platform where we kind of spend most of our time. So Aggressively Average Anglers on YouTube. Then we just started a new channel called Outdoor Gear Nerds because we wanted to branch out beyond just fishing. We're, very passionate about, say, camping and other outdoor sports. Like we want to get more into the outdoors world. We would love to do a lot more excursions like that. So the Outdoor Gear Nerds is a place where we can do those reviews. Also, it's a place where we can remove sort of that subjective like bias of anything. So it's a place where we focus our reviews on OGN, Outdoor Gear Nerds, on just camping, fishing, kind of trucking supplies, but we want to just be real and authentic with those reviews, give you pros and cons. There's no sponsors on that channel. There never will be. We have a website that's dropping for that channel pretty soon where we're going to have all those reviews. And our goal is to make a website that's searchable like Tackle Warehouse, where you can click on the left pane and you can find like kayaks and then the types of kayaks you're looking for. And then you go and you see all those kayaks that we've tested with a review video for each of them, as well as a score, and then our pros and cons. And again, if we have any subjective bias, like maybe I like a bigger kayak and Paul likes a smaller kayak, then we'll call that out. We'll say, hey, this is just me. This doesn't have to affect your decision in any way. This is like how I feel about it. But here are just the general pros and cons. And there we hope we can help you make better purchasing decisions.
Yeah. Guys, again, Paul, Jeff, really do appreciate you guys, again, getting up early this morning and chatting about this. But guys, we're going to end the show just like we always do. Remember, conservation starts with you. Release a fish for someone else to enjoy. And you've been listening to Dead Calm Outdoors right here on the Outdoor Radio Network.